Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity Radiant Light. I'm continuing the Affirmations and Denial series today with Innate Revealed. It's Sunday, July 13th, and I'm Reverend Cherie Ruffo. So as we talk about the innate this morning as part of Affirmations Denials, we remember, as we've talked about for several Sundays now, we're using the Affirmations and Denials to help bring our bodies back into balance. And the innate is a really important part of this. It's something we haven't spent a lot of time talking about. I know some of you already work with the innate frequently. It's our smart body. So when we talk about the innate, it's the innate is within us. It's not in our brain completely. It's in every cell of our body. So today we're exploring this concept of the innate revealed. And it's a sacred understanding of how to communicate with the intelligence within our bodies, the smart body, and how to use it and work with it so that we can heal, we can bring ourselves back into balance, we can improve our lives in every area. So what's the difference between affirmations and speaking to your innate? When we speak we speak affirmations, they're global, and we're speaking them into that quantum field. We're broadcasting the intentions that we have beyond our body. We're shaping our outer experiences through the power of our mind. With denials, we're speaking to what's not true about us. As we know with Myrtle Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, as a child of God, I did not inherit illness, and she let that go. So when we're speaking to the innate, it's very specific and it's directed into our body, into each cell, into our very DNA. So this is the structure of our being. And what we're doing when we do this is we're giving clear instructions to a deeply intelligent part of ourselves. We're not just making suggestions when we do this, too. We're giving commands. We're doing it with love and purpose and belief because we don't see ourselves separate from this. So when we're speaking to our innate, we're not separating ourselves from it. We're not saying, I want you to do this. Instead, you might say, we are, because our innate, our body, we're one team. So we don't want to see it as a separate part of ourselves. So what is the innate? It's as I said, it's not in your brain, it's in every cell. So if you've ever done, and I know most of you have, we've talked about it, is the muscle testing. When sometimes you have your arm out and you might hold something in one hand and and depending what's in your hand is whether your arm can be pushed down or stay up. And I didn't believe it. I saw it happening to people holding, artificial food, things like that. And they couldn't hold their arm up. So until I tried, and then I tried it myself. And I was amazed the fact that certain things my body is not in harmony with. And doing a muscle test will tell us, if it's working for us, if it's not. But our intuition can also do that. So the muscle testing is a tool to communicate with the body's wisdom. But the innate also responds beautifully to things like our commands about acupuncture, acupressure, Reiki, tapping, homeopathy, theta healing, prayer and meditation. And those are just a few things. We're opening when we're working with music today because there's a hertz frequency in each one of these pieces that I've selected for healing, for, as we saw with the one from Atlantis, for remembering back even beyond this lifetime. One of the things that has really become more prevalent the last couple decades is medical intuitives, because the medical intuitive can read your innate. And how do they do that? It's by sensing that quantum field of energy that you carry inside of you and then interpret the message your body's giving. Because sometimes when we get in touch with our innate, we may not understand what's being said to us. And that's where a medical intuitive, or that's where someone practicing theta healing or Reiki, they can help with that energy to increase that understanding. Or as a medical intuitive does, it interprets it. So your innate knows what's going on, even when our conscious mind doesn't. Our innate knows what's happening in every cell of our body or what may be impacting us from the outside. So it's really important that we're able to have that communication, be able to give instructions, but also to receive that information about what's happening. So when we speak to our innate with intention, we're replacing that limited 3D, third dimensional construct that we came in with, that is fear and separation. What we're replacing it with is higher consciousness overlay with harmony and coherence. So you might be thinking, well, how do I remove myself from this 3D reality? And that's the very question Myrtle and Charles Fillmore answered when they founded Unity. And we always talk about, and I almost all, many, many times, is Myrtle's journey being the perfect example. She understood that she was thinking and had that 3D overlay, and that she had to replace that to be able to heal from tuberculosis. And she did. She said it, as we said earlier, as a child of God, I did not inherit illness. She also said a lot other affirmations for healing. She was talking to her cells, and she was one of the first people that we can really see inside, especially inside the Christian faith, that has been able to do that. She understood that, but she also understood heart coherence, that she was bringing her body into alignment with divine truth. And we talk a lot, and when we do that, when we're saying these things, we're creating that coherence, that balance in our bodies, that when we have that, illness can't even rise to that level. So it's a fifth dimensional construct. And when we're out of balance with our thoughts, mentally, emotionally, or physically, and in so many other ways, disease might manifest. But as we restore that coherence, we restore our health. Now, there's a caveat to this. We have to remember that we each have a soul agreement, a life plan. So certain illnesses or challenges might be a part of that journey. We also have an entry point when we come into life and an exit point from this lifetime. So we have to approach this work with reverence, not control, but always with the empowered choice and understanding that sometimes there's things at work here that we might not be in our conscious. So how do we access this field of healing and wisdom? Well, as we know, there's timeless tools that we always work with: prayer, meditation, affirmations and denials, listening to the body's messages, powerful music, artwork. Have you ever just gone into somewhere and seen a piece of art that just absolutely every cell in your body responds to? Some people do it through food. But we may use all these different types of things to work with our cells, to our smart body, our innate self. But yeah, we all start at one point. We have to ask this one powerful question: what do you want? What do you really want? And really listen. You may create a statement or instruction for your innate, but then you have to take the time to listen. Because sometimes when we talk to ourselves, it may give us intuition that will lead us to do something else. With Myrtle, she was, she was able to release the things that weren't true about her, bring her body back into balance. But sometimes our intuition might lead us to get a physical, blood work, supplements, emotional clearing, lifestyle shifts. But the foundation is this: dear innate, I now instruct my body to create balance and coherence for, what is that intention? What is it that you want? Because if you don't know that, it's going to be really hard to give the body instructions. So, for example, I might say, dear innate, I would like to be a healthy size 10. And then I might have a denial that says, as a spark of God, I did not inherit the gene that makes my body hold excess weight. Affirmation: I am a perfect and healthy size 10. And then you might add something like, please give me the inner guidance and instructions to support this transformation. Because there's the time in between when we have to do things that help this. But this only works if it's believable to you. If not, begin where you are, speak truthfully. That'll be the key to healing, but you must believe what you're asking. You know, I've talked to a lot of people about healing and prayed for healing and with them. But they may, sometimes people say to me, well, I'm going to pray and I'm going to do this because I inherited this gene, so it's going to happen. We have to create a denial around that and release it because our family members might have had something doesn't mean that we have to. And then we repeat our affirmations and denials and instructions. And why do we do this? It's not for the innate. It's already heard you. We do it to convince ourselves, to build belief, to shift from hope into command. Because this is not a hope that we have. We are commanding this to happen. For instance, when you use a tincture and you go in and you buy a tincture, you put a drop under your tongue. It's not the remedy that's in the drop. The tincture is giving a command to all the cells in your body. So, how do we communicate with our innate? We talked about prayer and meditation, affirmations and denials, homeopathy, acupuncture, kinesiology. That's where we see the muscle testing, Reiki, tapping, theta healing. Can directly communicate with your cells. And that's mostly what I'm talking about here today is that direct communication. And remember, when you're giving that communication to your cells, it's not a suggestion. You're the loving authority of your own being. You are a piece of God. So you give that command. And when you do it, though, you do it with praise, gratitude, and belief, not with ego. We do it with the joy that comes from knowing that we've inherited this ability. Maybe try this next time you're in the shower. Speak to every cell in your body. I love you. Thank you for keeping me strong, vibrant, and alive. And feel what happens. You may feel your cells responding with love back to you. So think about that. We know that, from being in unity, we have all of these things available to us. All of these abilities, all the things that we inherited as being made in the image and likeness of God. And what we know works. Myrtle's tuberculosis was completely healed over 2 years, and she lived 46 more years. She was vibrant and vital. Charles, her husband, he healed a withered leg through prayer and meditation. He had had a fall and had an infection in his hip bone where his leg, and it was very painful. And one leg was 4 inches shorter than the other one, which caused a lot of pain too for balance in his life. And using these principles, he was able to heal that. His leg grew 3.5 inches, and he said that other half inch was to remind him of his human side. And but he was able to walk easier, feel better. He lived to the healthy age of 94. And I love his affirmation that he used to use every morning, especially when he was in his 90s. He would wake up and he would say, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that need to be done by me. So we can do this too. We can claim wisdom, the wisdom of our smart body, this loving command to the soul. Remember, it's the truth of our spiritual being. It might feel a little strange in the beginning when you're doing it and you're giving commands. Remember, we do it with love and gratitude, but you get used to it. We get used to talking and being in communication with all the cells in our bodies because today we're in such a loud world. There's always something going on. So with that brings that idea brings fear, brings separation. Kind of separates our thoughts from being in close touch with ourselves. So it's really important that we spend that time, that we love ourselves, that we forgive ourselves for anything we may have done. You're doing the best you can. And to talk to ourselves, to our every cell. We have this ability. So we can claim this wisdom of the smart body, the loving commands that we give of the soul, and to the truth of our spiritual being. The innate revealed. It's revealed to us. So what is it that you want? Do you really know? And this week I ask you to spend some time thinking about that. What is it that makes your heart sing? What is it that you want for your body? What's happening in your body? What would you like to see? We're at the point now where even science is showing that we can youth, that we can live longer. But that starts with us doing this with intention. When we do this with intention, we know what we want, that we know that our words and our feelings, and that's the really important part, our feelings have the ability to create change. So as we do that this morning, I'm going to bring us back into the slideshow. I'm going to talk about the affirmations for this week. And we'll say them with our mics off. I'm going to say them 3 times because we really want to allow the thoughts, that idea to settle within ourselves. And if you feel like you're having a strong reaction to one of them that might not be as positive, you can change the words on it. It might not be resonating with you, or it might be a clue, something to work on for yourself. So as we start with our affirmations for the week, we say, I celebrate my strong and intuitive self. My intuition is strong and clear. It creates a perfect path to my innate. Within me is divine, and my cells remember how to make me balanced, whole, and complete. And we're going to do this I'm going to say it now in a normal voice. Hold on 1 second. See what's going on here. Okay, let's try that. Okay, now I see it's picking it up. Still having a little problems. I celebrate my strong and intuitive self. My intuition is strong and clear and creates a perfect path to my innate. Within me is divine, and my cells remember how to make me balanced, whole, and complete. Let's take a nice deep breath in on that and release in your own time. You're saying it now with conviction. I celebrate my strong and intuitive self. My intuition is strong and clear and creates a perfect path to my innate. Within me is divine, and my cells remember how to make me balanced, whole, and complete. And because we're talking about the Fillmores this morning, the co-founders of Unity, I'm going to take us through Myrtle's healing meditation. So I just invite you to take a nice deep breath in, all the way down, and release. We'll take another deep breath in and release in your own time. Close your outer eyes if it's comfortable for you. And as we speak to our body, we're going to speak to the cells in our body. And we're going to do this in a way that I'm going to pause after each statement so that you can affirm it within your own body temple, affirming God's truth for you. And I just invite you to allow it to permeate every cell in your body, and just kind of notice how you feel, how your cells feel. Every cell in your body is listening and waiting for your instructions. Every cell of my body vibrates and radiates with God's life. My body is the temple of the living God, pure, perfect, whole, and filled with the harmony of divine order. I let God's perfect healing take full possession of my mind and body. The miracles of healing that Jesus performed among his followers were made possible with faith. Faith on the part of the healer, as well as those who were healed. The great physician responded to those who expressed their gratitude for healing with the words, "Your faith has made you well." So just repeat after me in silence. My faith is making me well. With God, all things are possible. In spite of appearances, there is only perfect God life in me and flowing through me as radiant strength, vitalizing life, and perfect harmony. My life processes and perpetuating the vision of youth in my perception, in my mind and body. Every atom and every cell is renewed. Old ideas. Any idea of age is eliminated from my mind and is erased by my body. My life processes are stamped by the renewing, youth giving idea that I am eternally young and vigorous in God. I am ever renewing, the ever unfolding expression of the child of God I am. My eyes, my ears, and all of the faculties are quickened and renewed through the youthful life processes working in and regenerating throughout my whole being. I am young, strong, and healthy. My body knows it. My body shows it. I feel totally alive. I am young because I am perpetually being renewed. My life comes new every moment from the infinite source of life, my dear God. I am new and fresh every morning because I live, move, and have my being in God, who is the source of all life. I am constantly renewed, constantly refreshed by God. Through God inspiring and literally living in my brain cells are rejuvenated. My mind is quick, keen, alert, and intelligent. My mind constantly creates the youth pattern instead of the pattern of aging. My body is strong and buoyant. I sit, stand, walk, and even run with perfect mobility. God life has perfect expression in my circulation through my veins and arteries. I am always filled with ever increasing vigor. I am rested and relaxed and recharged. I have an endless reservoir of strength directly from God in mind and body. I feel young, act young, and look young, for I am truly perfect, pure healing made manifest every moment of every day. I feel stronger and stronger, more alert and more intelligent with God inspired ideas. I have God given life to press forward towards the goal of becoming the full temple of the living God, filled to the brim with the perfection of pure, regenerated aliveness. And now for these truths, we are so grateful, grateful for the blueprint that Jesus, our way shower, left us so that we can claim this path to wellness. We claim health, and we do so in gratitude, knowing this is already done. And so it is.